Good day and welcome back to another Legends video. In this video we are going to take a look at, well, something that I haven't really done in the past, but it's the Zenkai Ultra Space Time Rush. So how time rushes work is there's Rush 1, Rush 2, Rush 3. Rush 3 is harder than Rush 2 is harder than Rush 3, etc. Okay, you also get trials. Trials are missions, things like use certain characters, use certain, types of character, use certain typings. If you use the auto select function, it will not prioritize these challenges. It will literally just create a team to try and counteract what you are facing, based obviously on the criteria you choose. Now, it's important to note that it's not necessarily the hardest it's quite fun, but completing this requires a pretty big box for two reasons. So it's a number of successive fights in a row, so it's not just one fight. Like you'll see, we'll do this first fight, but you'll see that immediately another fight will pop up. And two, your score at the end, which determines the rewards that you get, is based entirely on the trials that you complete. So if you complete obviously the stage, you get a certain amount of points. If you complete a whole bunch of trials, then you will get a much higher amounts of points. Getting those higher amounts of points gives you a total grade that is better at the end. The higher your grade, the better the rewards you get. To complete all the challenges but still be able to complete the stages, you need a pretty diverse box. You might get challenges that say you need to have two typings that are literally directly opposed to the stage that you're facing. So if you're facing a stage of green units, it might say use two blue units. So you need to really have quite a diverse box, and you need to really invest in your units. Units that have dupes, units that are soul boosted, units that are Zenkai awakened. So you really need to try and invest into your units overall before you take on the rushes. And generally start with Rush 1, then move into Rush 2, then move into Rush 3, and you should see some pretty good results overall. As you can see here, we're going to be taking on Rush 3. You can see we're doing decent damage. It's not like I've invested huge in these units. I mean, it's a 3-star legendary Legends Limited Gogeta, and it's a 7-star yellow God Vegeta, and it's a free-to-play Vegeta. So it's not like we've invested huge in this team, but they are all soul boosted. They all do have been leveled, for example, and you do have to play somewhat competently. I wouldn't leave it on auto mode. You need to be able to switch in and out. You need to know a little bit of what you're doing, what your units do, and yeah, you just generally need to give it quite a good attempt. From my perspective, the Zenkai rushes, they generally provide some pretty good rewards, and we'll take a look at those rewards. But overall they give you Zenkai power for units, for older units. So they're a way for you to get a whole bunch of Zenkai for units that you don't have. And in future, what I'll do is I will do maybe a live stream or something whereby I do the whole Zenkai rush. I think that might be something interesting. But yeah, I think it is definitely something worthwhile to do. You can get a lot of Zenkai medals, you can get Zenkai power for units. There's a lot that you can do overall with the rewards that you get from completing the various stages, and from completing them with high gradings. It's important that you get a high score, because that's how you're going to get the special currency that you use to buy the Zenkai power. If you don't complete it with a high score, you're not going to be able to get that Zenkai power. But you can also get other things. You can get rush tickets, you can get Zenkai medals. Like I said, you can get awakening for equipments. There's quite a lot that you can get with these, with all the rewards here. So you should definitely focus in on it, and you should definitely try and do your best to focus in on it as best you can. You can see here that we're holding our Rising Rush, because we're trying to use it after we break Beerus's form. So we're trying to break Beerus, and then we want to use the Rising Rush, which is going to help us in taking out the second form a lot faster. It's kind of like the main priority for us, because Beerus obviously has quite a large amount of type advantage against our team. So we'd rather take him out and be left with the 2 purple units so that we can face them with our yellow units, and then we should be fine. You see we won't be able to take him out with 1 Rising Rush, so we're going to have to try and finish him off with some moves that we have left over. But yeah, for the most part it is pretty, like, it's a pretty fun game mode. It requires you to use a lot of your box. The fights are pretty fun but not too challenging, not in the same sense as some of the other modes in Legends. And I think it's a really good excuse to expand your units and just work a little bit on team building, expanding your units, trying to get like the most out of your box and things like that. Like, I think, if you want to, you could definitely focus in on this, and it's a good way to just start expanding that box and at least prepping your units for stuff, which I think is really, really good. We're going to manage to evade this Rising Rush, but we're fine because, we do have the Legends Limited Gogeta left over, and he'll be able to finish everything off, which is great. We're going to switch him in, and then we should be able to finish everything off. So yeah, pretty chilled there. But yeah, it is just a pretty decent game mode, and I do enjoy it. But you are going to have to take on a couple fights in a row, so that's why I say you definitely want to have a more diverse box. Because if you don't have a diverse box, you're going to struggle with the challenges, you're going to struggle with setting up teams, you're not going to have supporters that can help you. And yeah, so you can see here, like, we should have battled with a red character, for example, and that will affect our total points at the end, which is like a very big thing. The enemies will get progressively harder, and the requirements to the stage will get progressively harder as well. You can see here both Vegeta and Frieza have break bars, which is obviously something that's going to, affect us. There are, however, battle bonus character tags, so if you do use the battle bonus characters, you should have a better time overall. And yeah, that's pretty much Zenkai's Super Rush. There's nothing else you really need to know. As you can see there's Rush 3, Rush 2, Rush 1. Now if you use units in Rush 3 or 2, you can still use the same units in Rush 1, and vice versa. So if you use units in Rush 1, it's not like they carry through all 3 rushes. All 3 rushes are separate from each other, so you can just keep going and reusing those units. So there is a point where you don't need like 100 units to take it on, but you do still need a decent selection, because each one will be running different challenges. And yeah, if you take a look here at the rewards, there's some pretty good ones. Awakening Z power for a lot of the units that have Zenkai'd, which obviously is quite helpful if you did miss their campaigns, or you missed summoning on them, etc., or you don't want to use your Chrono Crystals to summon on them. So yeah, that's obviously super duper helpful, and I think everyone appreciates that. And it is limited the amount you can buy, but it's still enough for a decent boost. And you can use your sub currency for Zenkai power, which is very good, because we need a lot of those, the Zenkai souls. And then of course you can buy some equipment expansions, slot removers, etc., which is pretty good as well. Like if you get some of that stuff, it'll help you with your equipment, which is a very important part of Legends. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So yeah, that is Zenkai Super Rush. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video. But until then, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like on it, or leave a comment underneath and I'll try and reply back. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care, and bye!